Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the EGU podcast for awakening and emerging conscious spiritual entrepreneurs. Today we are celebrating. I wish I had some party poppers to let go. It's our 50th birthday. Woo! Woo! And we're going to spice things up a lot because things are shifting fast in our world and we'd like to get you ahead of the game. We are talking about understanding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency today. And we'd love you to learn how everyday people like you and me are setting themselves up for life, making 500 to 2,500% on their money buying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies without being a finance specialist or a geek. So you're in the right place. If you want to understand cryptocurrency but find it overwhelming, if you don't always trust mainstream media, if you want to be in control of your financial future and fund your retirement regardless of your age now, and if you know things are changing fast and don't want to be left behind. My guest today is a superstar in the crypto world. She is Angela Wright of Making More Impact. Welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and huge congratulations. 50th podcast. That's a big achievement. Well done.
Oh, thank you. That's, nearly a year that makes it because we do one a week. So, it's a wonderful accomplishment. And I'd like to send a shout out, if I may, also to my producer, Jo Cole at AudioPod. Yes. She is an amazing woman. Nothing is ever too much. She has got this show to where it is today with ratings just flying, and it's a pleasure to work with her. And thank you so much, Jo. It's hugely, it's very cool. So let me tell you about Angela, guys and girls. She is committed to making more impact as she transforms businesses using unique strategies with new technologies to convert strangers and cold traffic into high-value customers. She's an early adapter in business. And I'm really, really curious to know how you got into crypto, Angela.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, Michelle. I'm really quite passionate about crypto because so many of us are aware that the mainstream financial system is broken. And you can see this just by how much your money is buying now and how difficult it can be if you want to buy something perhaps from another part of the world, or if you want to travel in another part of the world and you get stung for changing your money from one currency to another. So we're all well aware of that. And for instance, if you're away and you check into a hotel, and they take a deposit on your credit card, and then it takes days and days to get it back. And you know that's not necessary. You know the banks are making a profit out of your money. And, there's so many things like that. And if you look at actually how the financial institutions are set up and how secure your hard-earned money is, if it's in savings, how secure and safe that is, then, you are right to be alarmed. And so for all of these reasons and very many more, there's been this huge interest in crypto. And so I was aware of this right in the early days. So crypto's been around for about 10 years now. And when we emigrated to Australia back in 2010, I knew about Bitcoin, I knew about crypto, I knew about the blockchain, and I did nothing about it. And, that was so foolish because here we are, David and I, we're so blessed, we have 5 children. And if I'd just taken $100, just $100 each, which opened an account for each child, and one for me and David, each child would have well over $7 million now. And David and I wouldn't be averse to an extra $14 million. We can do a lot of good with that money. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it because I didn't understand it enough. I knew about it sort of intellectually a little bit, but not in an understanding way. And it was just so foolish. And I realized this. I realized this. But it's still not too late. That's the thing. And so now that when I started seeing mainstream functional uses of cryptocurrency and the blockchain, and there are many, many businesses now building their businesses, evolving their businesses, using the blockchain, using cryptocurrency. For instance, Microsoft JP Morgan, Deloitte, real big household names. It doesn't matter if you're looking at banks or government organizations. The UN has just started enabling survival payments to some Syrian refugees using the blockchain because it's so much more secure and it's so much safer. So whether it's government organizations or banks, regardless of what they say, or huge multinational businesses or, your business, you can accept cryptocurrency. So we have some businesses, we have e-commerce businesses. If I sell some of our brilliant supplements, and I sell them, say I sell them with one business in Great British Pounds to somebody here in Australia, that customer in Australia is overcharged by their credit card company for buying a different currency. If I sell our Minty Cocoa or oral health product in Australian dollars and I'm selling that to somebody in the US, that US customer is overcharged by their credit company. And so for all those reasons, we now accept cryptocurrency as well. So it doesn't matter where you're buying. And that's how it should be, really, because money should have value. So I got involved, I suppose, for two reasons. One, because there's this big need to get our businesses working better. And I saw all of these other businesses working really hard using the blockchain and using cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. And I also saw that we are still right at the beginning of the early adopter phase of this. So if you think 2017 has been crazy, and you will if I can share some stats with you in a minute. We ain't seen nothing yet. 2018, we're going to see much more growth, and it's just a real way for people to protect their savings, to get these huge gains once you understand cryptocurrency. But I will make a point. This is nothing to do with any of those terrible MLM Ponzi schemes. And there are a lot of MLM crypto Ponzi schemes. They spend a lot of money on marketing and they fool a lot of otherwise intelligent people. So this is definitely nothing to do with MLMs. No scams, no spams. I'm really careful about doing due diligence and making sure that where we put our money is safe. And, the people, our students, our crypto students of Make Crypto Easy, make sure that they have absolutely the best information, and it's a MLM and scam-free zone.
Now, just to back you up there, Angela, I downloaded your free intro into crypto, and that was just mind-blowing for me. And I spent about 3 days researching more and more and more since. Hence why I've invited you back onto the show to help our listeners learn more about it from a very basic level. Because, look, as far as I understand it, our money is going to become obsolete. And I know we're talking a way down the track. I think it was 2140 or something, which is, not necessarily in our lifetime. But what you said about your kids and $100 into $7 million per child in 10 years' time. We really need to get our heads around this. So what I'd love you to do is to help our listeners understand exactly what cryptocurrencies are.
Okay, sure. Okay, so the easiest way to explain it is actually to start with the blockchain, because it's all built on the blockchain. So if you think about when you do your accounts, and everybody does accounts of some form or another, even if it's just, I've got $50 and I've spent $25, that means I've got $25 left. So that's called double entry bookkeeping. You have some money that comes in and you have some money that comes out. Double entries, one in, one out. So what happened was triple entry bookkeeping essentially was invented, discovered, however you like to think of it. So the blockchain is actually a triple ledger. And what that means is you don't actually need a third party like the bank to verify things or keep it safe, because it's completely secure. Let me give you an example. And it's almost like going back in time or being more practical. So let's picture this. Let's say I give you $500. And let's say we're in a group of people and I have $500 cash, and I want to give it to you for some reason. And I say, here you are, Michelle, here's your $500. And everybody around us sees this happen.
Yeah.
And then a week later, you say, Angela, you were going to give me $500. And I said, but I did, Michelle. And she said, no, I don't remember that. Everybody who was there would pipe up and say, yeah, Michelle, yeah, Angela gave you $500. It was on Tuesday, it was 4:00. You said, thank you very much. We all saw it. It happened, right?
Yeah.
So before credit cards, before loans, before fractional reserve lending and all that rubbish was invented, that's how it would have happened. Maybe I would have given you some turnips and you would have given me some eggs, or I would have given you, a groat, and you would have said, thank you very much. So really the blockchain is just like that. So what happens is the blockchain comprises hundreds of thousands of computers all over the world. And every time an entry is made on the blockchain, it is recorded at these 3 levels. And it's recorded on all of these hundreds of thousands of computers. So there's no way that it can be disproved. That it can be.
No way that I could say I didn't receive it.
Exactly right. Yeah. So because of this, these are called smart contracts. So I'll give you another example. So when we were running our theme parks in the UK, and I dreamed about theme parks as a child and created the first one when I had 2 little baby boys. I wanted to recreate my country childhood. So we had ponies and lambs to feed, and it grew to having roller coasters and log flumes. And it was just the most glorious, fun place. Anyway, so we ran theme parks for 20 years and grew it to 2 theme parks and 2 resorts. But when I remember this clearly, because we were buying a log flume for a new ride for next year. And when we bought the log flume, obviously the firm building it, they were in Europe, they were worried that we were going to pay. So they had to lay out all this money to build this ride. Then they had to deliver it, and then they had to hope we paid. And we, on the other hand, were worried that they wouldn't build it and they wouldn't deliver it. And we'd get to Easter and we wouldn't be able to open. So what we did is, we involved our lawyers and we involved the bank, and we did the only thing that could be done in those days. It was only going back a few years, which was to put some money into escrow. So we said, right, we're buying this log flume for however much it was. Here you go, Mr. Bank Manager. Here's the money. We're going to put it into escrow. You're going to look after it. And then when the ride is delivered and the engineer, the independent safety inspector engineer, signs it off and says it's safe to use for the public and we can open it, that will trigger the bank to pay the ride manufacturer. So they knew as long as they delivered the working ride, they would get their money. We knew that our money was safe until it was delivered and it worked. Right. Yep. So that's called escrow. People know about that. So, but what happened was the banks charged us for the liberty of looking after our money, like they do, and the lawyers, and the lawyers charged us for drawing up all the contracts. The beautiful thing about the blockchain is it does away with all that, because you have a smart contract, and you can have a smart contract in place for pretty well anything, because the blockchain is triple entry and highly secure. So that's the blockchain part of things. And what we're seeing now is, as I was saying, banks, governments, large businesses, small businesses, the health industry, the travel industry, you name it, they're starting to shift their businesses and their organizations to using the blockchain because it's much more secure, it's much more economic to use, it's unhackable, and it's instant because the information is instantly there. You don't need an external authority to authorize it because it's decentralized. So that means that these cryptocurrencies operate through this, so they are secure. Unless you get involved in a scam, Ponzi, MLM or something, and you're taken for a ride. But the actual currencies themselves, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and the others, are secure. So what happens is, it's a little bit like, if you think of it as being like digital gold. So there's only so much gold and silver in the world. and that holds a store of value, unlike our current financial situation, where they just create some more, and that causes inflation, and that means everybody's money is worth less. When you go to retire, all your savings are worth less every year. So with cryptocurrency, there's, again, like gold and silver, or like precious jewels, there's only a certain amount that's created of every cryptocurrency. So it holds its value because it can't get, you can't get deflation because it's not replicated like fiat currency is. Okay. So the first one and the main cryptocurrency is called Bitcoin. And that's what most people have heard of. The second player in the game, if you like, is Ethereum, and most of the businesses, excuse me, and organizations using the blockchain technology are actually using Ethereum now. So Ethereum is a highly valuable cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. And then you have all different other ones. And you can actually create your own cryptocurrency. But of course, it's only going to have any value if people say it has a value. So I'll give you, for instance, of one that's near me here on the Sunshine Coast that has a real functional use. And this one is called D-Health, D for Delta, Health. And you can look it up. It's called dhealthnetwork.io. And D-Health Network is a remarkable creation, a very clever, highly capable team running it. And they have created the ability for you to upload all of your medical records. So it could be your records from your Western doctor, from your traditional Chinese medicine doctor if you have one, from your naturopath, your nutritionist, your optometrist, your dentist, your chiropractor. Perfect. Every time you have an X-ray. So all of your records can be uploaded. But then, if you chose to, you could give researchers permission to look at your records. So your records would be anonymous. They wouldn't know it was your records, but they would know the data points. They would know, okay, so this is belonging to somebody, and she's 29, and she eats this way, and she exercises this way, and she's had, this many babies or none, or whatever it is. And so your data can be used in comparable research, which is really valuable in itself. So that's one side. The other side of that is that researchers and medical professionals can upload their trials and they can compare against other trials. So for the first time ever, you can actually be comparing all of this medical data and research. And because the medical professionals are there, if you had a particular need of something, say you had, I don't know, a ear infection, and you couldn't clear it up through conventional means, or whatever you tried, you couldn't clear it up. And you said, I need a second opinion. You could get a second or a third or a fifth or whatever opinion from these medical professionals who would have access to your notes if you chose to give them to. So they could therefore do it really economically. Maybe somebody in Belgium, somebody in Pakistan, somebody in Sydney. So that's an example of a highly functional, use-centered crypto technology that is transforming the world. There's lots like that, but that's why I got really excited when I saw businesses and organizations actually evolving like this. And it has been described, cryptocurrency is described as the biggest social and financial evolution in human history, because it's really decentralizing the power and giving individuals their power back, so that we can share this knowledge and be in control of our financial futures again.
I'm getting very excited. I'm really getting excited about this. I am a passionate advocate of sacred economy and the gifting economy and getting things back to our ancient roots before money became a currency and all the things you spoke about started to go wrong. I remember my beautiful mother, rest her soul, she said, before credit cards, there were no problems. And we're talking quite a long time ago now, but as soon as, you used to do lay-by and you never got anything until you could afford to buy it. And that's when things really started to go crazy, because we were dealing in currencies that we literally weren't ours anyway to be dealing with, like water and, all of the beautiful things that were given to us as a custodian of this earth. That all of those beautiful rights got taken from us. So it's beautiful to see it coming back full circle.
Yeah, I think it's a really exciting time because people have been duped. There's no doubt about that, and credit cards were brought in, I think it's around the 70s and really became popular. And that fostered a huge boom in spending. And then national and international debt followed on from that. Once individuals were pretty well maxed out, then countries were loaned money. And there's no doubt a lot of countries have been loaned money that should never have been loaned. And nobody really went to jail for all of the the financial fraud. And so I think our young people are really tired of this. And if you look at the drivers in the crypto economy, there are the brightest brains on the planet. And I'm a huge optimist and realist. And I believe that very strongly and evidence-based, believe that we are solving our problems faster than we've made them now, finally. And being able to share this knowledge so it's not centralized anymore, it's not suppressed anymore. The cats are out of the bag and running, and giving people access to real information is expanding our ability to make the most of this world without doing it the wrong way. So, without pollution and without exploitation and so on. So there are some very, very bright people in the crypto world. And whether it's utilizing it to expand renewable energy or reduce debt or encourage, equality or just solve a need, like being able to book your airplane flights in a better way, more secure way. That's happening now as one example. Winding Tree is an interesting cryptocurrency that's doing just that. So yes, lots of things to be really positive about, based on maths and science and realism. So yes, I'm a big crypto fan, and as you said, I have a book which I give away free, which is called The Complete Crypto. Yes. So if anybody wants that, you can get that. Go to makecryptoeasy.com. And I've just finished filming a web class as well, which I would love to share with people. Perhaps at the end when we finish talking, I'll just share that link as well.
Yeah, please do, and we'll pop it in the show notes as well, so that people have access to that too. Awesome. So okay, you've sold me. Where do we get started? What are the essentials that people require to get started into this very, very exciting part of our evolution?
Okay, good questions. Firstly, don't blindly listen to anybody, not just anybody, because as I've said, in all walks of life, there are people who will take advantage of other people. Yeah. And the MLM crypto organizations are very convincing. For instance, if somebody tells you that they can give you 1% per day guaranteed, you give them money, they invest it in cryptocurrency, they give you something that isn't cryptocurrency. That is not right. Right? And that is actually happening. There's a few MLMs like that, and people are falling for it, and it's just a disaster. There's one crash and burn the other day, and people lost a lot of people lost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So don't do that. So read my book, and that would really tell you what to do, or watch my web class. Yeah. But essentially, what you need some ID, like a driving license or a passport. You need to be able to jump in front of a computer of some kind with a camera, and you probably need to set aside a minimum of about an hour, and you'll need a few dollars to get going, and you can get going with just about $10. Okay. So it's not like you have to buy a whole Bitcoin, because a Bitcoin now is worth about $7,000. Wow. So you don't have to buy a whole one, just like you can take a few cents, you don't need a whole dollar. You can spend some cents. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. So one Bitcoin is comprises thousands of, satoshis. So you can buy a fraction of a Bitcoin or a fraction of an Ethereum. So the key thing is you're going to need to sit down, have done a little bit of research, read my book, watched my web class, or done some credible research, and then you could choose a platform to buy your Bitcoin on. So you need to buy Bitcoin first to get into the cryptocurrency world, and then you can just hold your Bitcoin, or you can use that to buy other cryptocurrencies if you want to. So you can buy Bitcoin with any fiat currency, with Australian dollars, say. You could open an account on one of the platforms. There are lots of platforms. Some are more expensive to use than others. Some are more secure than others. But you want to open an account. They will verify who you are.
Yep.
Because even though your purchase of Bitcoins is anonymous, because you will be doing it with a special number that you'll be given,
yep.
The exchanges and the platforms all want to it's called Know Your Customer, KYC. So they have responsibility to carry out Know Your Customer due diligence. So they'll check one of your identity documents. So you'll just take a picture of that or hold that up to your laptop or your phone camera and give them a photograph of that, and you'll tell them something about you. You'll give them a photograph of you as well, and then after a while they'll come back and say, okay, we've approved you. And that while depends, and that's another reason to get involved now, because it's easier to get involved now than it will be in the future, because this is being adopted. And for instance, there's a platform called Coinbase. A lot of people promote Coinbase, partly because when somebody promotes Coinbase to you, they'll earn $10. So a lot of people recommend Coinbase. It's not a bad exchange. It's one of the most expensive to buy through, but it is secure and you're quite safe. And if you're only buying, $10 or $50 worth, to pay an extra percent or something isn't much.
Nothing. Yeah.
If you get involved in buying a bit more, then you want to use a different platform. But for instance, 100,000 new people recently bought Bitcoin on Coinbase. That's just in recent days, 100,000 more. So of course, no business can scale instantly. If you get an increase in your business, you've got to, train some more staff, haven't you? It takes a little bit of time. So it's a good idea, another good reason to get your exchange platform opened now. It's free to open a platform. You could open as many as you like. There's half a dozen to a dozen good ones that I recommend. Yeah. And then you can choose which is going to suit you. And I give my top 2 recommendations. Yeah. So open your platforms, get yourself verified, and then just use a little bit of spare money, just to start with, $10, and buy yourself some Bitcoin, buy yourself some Ethereum, and see how straightforward it is when you follow something like our step-by-step guide. Yeah. And then you get your confidence, you've bought some, your own some crypto. It's gonna be appreciating over time. There's no shadow of a doubt about that. It may go up and down a little bit. It's quite likely there will be a small correction, or a correction, in the coming days. We've seen it's come down a little bit from its recent high, but there is no doubt that it is going up considerably. And when I say considerably, if you look at any of the most well-informed financial analysts, they are predicting that one Bitcoin, which is now worth about $7,500 in round figures, they're predicting that one Bitcoin is going to be valued at between $350,000 and $500,000. In
how long? How long?
That's not in 2018. That's going to take a few years. But that's it's not that far away. We're talking within the next decade. Yeah, and that's huge. Yeah, so even if you just buy a little bit and put it away, it's going to be worth it. One of my boys has been saving up because he's going travelling, he's finished university, and he's got a few $1,000s saved up, but that money's been earning him no interest whatsoever.
Yeah, that's right.
And meantime, most of everything else has been increasing in value. So actually, if he put that into crypto, he's now in crypto, but better late than never. But it's just a very good idea because it's more secure than the current financial system.
Yeah.
However, I will say this. I'm not giving financial advice. You should always do your own research. This is an opinion. Always do your own research. And whenever you spend money or invest money, always be aware of the risks. Whether you put it on the stock market or in bonds or with your bank or whatever. Because most people aren't aware that when you put your money in a bank, if that bank had an issue, if there was a run on the bank and everybody suddenly wanted to withdraw their money, the bank is entitled not to give you your money. Yeah, so there is risk everywhere in the world, and it's up to you to understand what those risks are, and then perhaps spread the risk, and perhaps do your own research, and then make your own decisions.
Absolutely. And look, I remember great knowledge coming through my years of not to have all your eggs in one basket.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, it's simple. And my folks lost a lot of money on when a community bank went down in Victoria 25 years ago. So they lost a lot of money. That was their retirement. So, it's a risk. If you're prepared to take a risk, you've got to be prepared to pay the consequences. But again, no financial advice being given, just information.
Exactly right.
And an opportunity to dip your feet in safely and learn by. Well, I have to say, Angela, I love the information that you give in your course. It's clear, it's concise. You also support via a Facebook community as well. And it's not just you. There are other people in there trading and learning and supporting, and it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Yes, I will just mention actually a thank you to Diana View, who's called Crypto Mama. So Diana it works with me with Make Crypto Easy and Daily Crypto Fix, which is our Facebook group. You can find Daily Crypto Fix on Facebook, and that's free to join. We just have to approve you, so that we do not approve a lot of people. So we're very careful about who comes in. But Diana is an ASIC regulatory corporate lawyer. She's very bright. She works for ASIC, which is the equivalent of the SEC in the US, and she really understands crypto. She's a passionate crypto advocate, and Diana is Vietnamese Australian, and so she pays particular attention to what's happening in Asia. And the two big powerhouses, financial powerhouses, particularly in terms of crypto, are China and South Korea. And when you know what's happening in terms of those countries and the US and Australia and the UK and Europe, it really helps you to understand when you should be buying whatever it is you want to buy, even if it's just Bitcoin, when to buy, when to hold, if there's going to be a little dip in the value and you want to top up a little bit more. The safest way really is to spend a little bit of time understanding, reading my guide or, taking back my course, whatever, understanding what's happening, and then just get involved and just buy a little bit of Bitcoin and put it away. Even if you forget about it, just make sure that you've done what we say, so it's all safe, and then it's just going to sit there, and it's going to be another a safer nest egg than a lot of other places, a lot of other currently mainstream places, which are not as safe as one might first assume.
Yeah, and again, I completely agree. My research has proved that the Asian markets and stuff are really backing it. It's just it's not going away anytime fast, and it's well worth the opportunity to with due diligence jump in and play.
Exactly right. Yeah. Now, really, there's two things I think. When your grandkids or nephews and nieces, great nephews and nieces, say to you, "Oh, so what did you do about cryptocurrency?" And then, there'll be two things you'll be able to say. One is, I missed the cryptocurrency boat. Or the other is, I got involved, and that's how, we made part of the family fortune.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. It's about, we have this opportunity. I think the biggest example, it may be this. So it's as if there's a whole new stock market opening now, and you can get involved on the ground floor in this stock market, but you've got access to all of the information because it's all very clear public knowledge. But even then, most people won't bother to get involved. And so we all know when the stock market's opened, the early people involved made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like that.
Absolutely. Look, I know that we could talk all day, but I'd love to just to summarize this for people, because we're passionate and want to just keep going. But people need to find their trading platforms and do their own information about why one is better than others. And I know that you offer advice on that.
Yeah.
Get their wallet sorted out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can you help us understand Bitcoin and altcoins?
Yes, I can. That's a good question. A lot of confusion about that. So Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency. And because it was the first, all of the other cryptocurrencies, whether it's Ethereum or Litecoin or IMG or any of them, there's so many now, there's over 1,600 cryptos now. But all of the others are called alternate coins. Yeah, and that's abbreviated to altcoins.
Right.
So Bitcoin is not an altcoin. All of the other cryptocurrencies are altcoins.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
All of the altcoins and Bitcoin are all cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's how it works.
Yeah, gotcha. That's great. Thank you so much. Now, in the notes below, guys and girls, you will find Angela's free course, and that leads to a very, very affordable, hugely in-depth course that I'm working my way through at present. And I know I'm actually taking off for the weekend so that I can completely immerse myself in it. Get to the bottom of this, because I am not missing the boat, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, Angela, please tell people where you can be found. I know we've mentioned it a few, and please know, guys and girls, in the show notes below, you'll find everything that you need. But you also, by coming on board with Angela and also myself in my community at Entrepreneurs Globally Unite, will have access to this information and to Angela as well. So you are by no means, way, shape or form on your own in this game. We are here to support you. We do not want anyone getting burnt or hurt. Yeah,
exactly. That's really important. That's really important. So if anybody would like to go to makecryptoeasy.com, that's make as in M-A-K-E, and then crypto as in C-R-Y-P-T-O, and then easy as in it's so easy, E-A-S-Y.com, and then /web class. So WEBCLASS. So make crypto easy /web class is my class. Makecryptoeasy.com, that's where you can just get the free book, but if you take the web class you'll get the book anyway. And at the end of the class I'm giving an option for people to jump into the course as you are, and at the moment I have a special introductory price, and it's only $88.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It is, but it is ridiculous. But I really want there to be no barrier to entry for people, because it's important. And the other thing that we're doing, and this just came to me just a few days ago. I actually woke up in the middle of the night with this idea, wrote it down in my diary beside my bed, and went back to sleep.
No, I got a message very first thing the next morning, which was exciting.
Yes. So what we're actually doing, what we're doing is for every course that we sell, we're giving a course to a woman in dire financial need, because there are so many women who suffer domestic violence. For instance, a woman dies every week in Australia because of that. In America, it's around about 3 women a day, and And so what we want to do is enable every woman, everybody, but I want to give a course to every woman who is desperately in need of it, who can't even find $88, because I want to empower people to take control of their financial life. So for every course that we sell, and it's only $88 at the moment, I can't keep it at that for very long, but I'm just going to hold it there for a little bit longer. For every course that we sell, we're giving a course as well to lift somebody else up. So it is all about bringing it together. The course includes a weekly call, a group call with Diana and I live. We're also available one-to-one at the moment. And we have a Facebook group, as you said, and we have a Telegram group as well. So Telegram is a very secure platform. You can download it for free, and we can chat securely in our Telegram group. And then we've got the course, of course, that you can work through, and so you can get access to that. But yeah, I'd love to have some more of your amazing entrepreneurs involved, and I'm so pleased that you're here with us too.
Oh, thanks, Angela. And for anyone that Telegram site is like a WhatsApp or it's a group app, and it is encrypted and it's safe and not being spied on.
No, it's very secure, very, very secure.
Very, very. So, Angela, thank you so very much for joining us and bringing an end to the mystery of all of this, because it doesn't, it's not hard. Understanding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is just like learning a different language. And if you follow someone that's walked the path that gets you there safely and you use your due diligence, then you will get there into this brand new, it's not brand new, but it's still new enough to be able to certainly make a beautiful impact and perhaps shift your life around.
Yeah,
certainly,
definitely.
For the generations to follow in your steps.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. It's been such a pleasure. And I think once people understand, and we take them by the hand and we go step by step, then it all makes sense. Yes. Then it really becomes very clear very quickly. So it's very quick to get to get to that point of understanding and owning your first Bitcoin or little part of Bitcoin. Once you know exactly what to do and you know that you're doing it safely. So we're all about making sure that you're doing it safely so that you get that financial freedom and that financial security for yourself. Because let's face it, if people are worried about money, they are worried, full stop. And it's hard to be calm and, light-hearted and high vibration if you've got worries. So the key thing is to try and, remove these worries by doing things safely and taking some action and something that is going to make a massive impact on your life for the better.
And also understanding how the mind works, because it is a trickster, a master trickster, and it doesn't like new things. So you will need to take the time to persevere through this new knowledge for the whole of you to come on board. So it's exciting times for us. And once again, Angela, thank you so very much for joining us on the EGU podcast. And guys and girls, thank you for joining us. And this show will be live very, very quickly. I'm not going to hold this one back in the queue. I'm going to push it right up to the top. So from us, we'd like to wish you a fabulous week ahead. And thank you for joining us. And huge love, light and blessings into your day and your lives. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's always such a joy to talk with you. I've really enjoyed it today, and I will see you on the inside as well. See you soon.
You sure will. Bye, love. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.